Good evening, and welcome to Red's Classic Theater. This week it's rides and roosters and rollovers as we visit the Fair of the Century, PNE 99. Hi everybody, I'm Red Robinson, and there's plenty to see at this year's PNE. And we'll have a look at some of the new features and revisit some of your old favorites a little later on. From the Fair of the Century, we present our movie this week, the 1983 comedy Deal of the Century with Chevy Chase, Sigourney Weaver, and Gregory Hines. Although this film came relatively early in Chevy Chase's career, he'd already become accustomed to being well pampered on the set. So working with director William Friedkin came as a shock to him. So much so, in fact, that Chevy was provoked to call the director a madman. And we'll tell you why later on. And also later on, we'll tell you about our movie ticket giveaway. You can win some prizes. Now, here's Act 1 of Deal of the Century. This week on Red's Classic Theater, we're visiting the Fair of the Century, PNE 99. This is the brand new water sanctuary, and it's just one of the many new features you'll discover at PNE 99. Another new feature is the Polaris Water Celebration Parade. This daily event includes more than 75 young people from around the Lower Mainland. Of course, the PNE just wouldn't be the PNE without rides. This year, Playland includes the largest and most exciting ride package in the fair's history. And this is the 1999 PNE Prize Home. Built by Radisson Homes Limited, this 4,100 square foot home includes 3 bedrooms, 3 baths, and my favorite, a family theater. But not everything at the PNE is new, and we'll revisit some of your old favorites when Red's Classic Theater returns in a moment. Regardless of their size, animals are a big part of every PNE, whether it's the pig races, or the horse races, or the Technical Superdogs. There are animals of all kinds at PNE 99. And don't forget about those 2-legged animals that drive in the Demolition Derby. It's all at PNE 99, the Fair of the Century, on now through Labor Day. Call us at TV 12 for an information phone number. Now back to Chevy Chase in Deal of the Century. Chevy Chase is starring in Deal of the Century this week on Red's Classic Theater. As you might imagine, former Saturday Night Live star Chevy Chase is usually a cut-up on the set of his own movies, but on the set of this movie, the mood was entirely different. William Friedkin, the director, is a perfectionist, and Chevy Chase found his intensity very unsettling. He said at one point, William Friedkin is a madman. No, let me change that. He's a perfectionist. I've never done so many takes. But it wasn't long before Chevy Chase realized that he had to adjust to Friedkin's direction. No more goofing around, just a solid performance, which is exactly what the director wanted. At the time tonight's movie was in production, Chevy's wife, Janie, was expecting their first child. Between takes, he would call home to monitor his wife's pregnancy. Finally, just after production wrapped on tonight's movie, Sydney Kathleen Chase was born. And Chevy Chase was only too happy to become a stay-at-home dad. Now back to Deal of the Century. We're visiting PNE 99, the Fair of the Century this week on Red's Classic Theater. And time now for a movie ticket giveaway. TV 12 has teamed up with Z95.3, the Georgia Strait, and Playland for a preview showing of a new movie called Something More. Now we have 12 pairs of tickets to give away for this screening, which takes place on September 9th. If you'd like to win tickets, here's what you do. Call our TV 12 contest line right now at 888-312-TV12. The first 12 callers will each receive a pair of tickets to the premiere of Something More. 888-312-TV12 for your chance to win, and good luck. And while you're busy dialing, let us return to our movie this week called Deal of the Century. We're featuring Deal of the Century, directed by William Friedkin, this week on Red's Classic Theater. For most of his fans, William Friedkin's work will always be defined by The French Connection and The Exorcist. But prior to those successes, Friedkin had won acclaim for The Night They Raided Minsky's, a recreation of the burlesque era, and for his film adaptation of the stage play The Boys in the Band. But from the mid-70s on, William Friedkin seemed to lose his touch. Only The Brinks Job with Peter Falk and Blue Chips with Nick Nolte stood out in a sea of flops like 1980's Cruisin' with Al Pacino. Now, William Friedkin is hoping to revive his career with 2 movies out in the next few months. Night Train with Ving Rhames and Rules of Engagement with Tommy Lee Jones and Samuel L. Jackson. Now let's return to our movie, Deal of the Century. From the PNE grounds in Vancouver, time for our weekly movie trivia quiz. Following tonight's movie, Chevy Chase took on a character who's appeared in a series of 4 films. Can you name that character? And can you name that series of films? We'll be back with the answers in just a moment. Time now for the 2 answers to this week's movie trivia quiz. After tonight's movie, Chevy Chase was hired to play Clark Wilhelm Griswold Jr. in the first of 4 National Lampoon Vacation movies. Now back to Chevy Chase in Deal of the Century. Next Sunday night on Red's Classic Theater, come and listen to a story about a man named Jed. When Jim Varney, Cloris Leachman, and Dabney Coleman take us for a romp in the hills, Beverly Hills, that is. The Beverly Hillbillies, our movie next week on Red's Classic Theater. And that wraps up our show for this week. Hope you enjoyed Deal of the Century. Hey, be sure to come on out to PNE 99, the Fair of the Century. The gates open daily at 10:30 right through until Labor Day. I'll see you tomorrow morning on 650 Sea Isle with the Wake Up Club, and next week here on Red's Classic Theater. From PNE 99, thanks for being with us. Good night, everybody. Deal of the Century on Red's Classic Theater will continue. Red's Classic Theater from PNE 99 will continue. Red's Classic Theater from PNE 99 will continue. This week on Red's Classic Theater, we make a return visit to PNE 99, the Fair of the Century. We'll update you on some of the new features of this year's fair, as well as the old favorites you'll want to get reacquainted with. Our movie this week is Deal of the Century with Chevy Chase. We'll tell you about Chevy's reaction to working with William Friedkin and profile the career of the famed director. I'm Red Robinson. Join me, won't you?
Sunday night at 10 on TV 12.
This week on Red's Classic Theater, we make a return visit to PNE 99, the Fair of the Century. We'll update you on some of the new features of this year's fair, as well as the old favorites you'll want to get reacquainted with. Our movie this week is Deal of the Century with Chevy Chase. We'll tell you about Chevy's reaction to working with William Friedkin and profile the career of the famed director. I'm Red Robinson. Join me, won't you?
Tonight at 10 on TV 12.
This week on Red's Classic Theater, Chevy Chase is a fast-talking arms dealer about to land the deal of the century. Sunday night at 10 here on TV 12. Tonight on Red's Classic Theater, Chevy Chase is a fast-talking arms dealer about to land the deal of the century. Tonight at 10 here on TV 12. Deal of the Century on Red's Classic Theater, Sunday night at 10. Deal of the Century on Red's Classic Theater, tonight at 10.